What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Thursday Night Hang here on the Coffee and Cigars live stream, where we come to you most Thursdays evenings, 8 p.m. Eastern, to do some coffee and some cigars. How's it going? Hope you're all doing well. Let me turn that on here. I am outside because, after we've had some pretty unseasonable weather over the last few weeks or something, we now have relatively milder weather. So it's like it was like 40 something degrees out here. So I got the fire running, and we're going to be out here doing the live stream. There's supposed to be some kind of precipitation happening. It said around 11 o'clock, but actually it started a little while ago, like maybe about 20 minutes ago. I had a little bit of like light, spraying, and I was like, oh man, do we have to go inside? Because right now, since it's been so cold, the garage has been right around 40 degrees, 30, it's dropped down to like 35 at times, but the slab is right around 40 degrees, the concrete slab. So it's fairly cold. Like today it was colder inside the garage than it was outside here. So I left the doors open to try to like get some equilibrium while we're doing it. Mom's with us. Good evening to you. How are you doing, good mom? Good to see you. Let me just pull down here. Tony's with us. What's going on, Tony? How are you? So we got the fire going. I started the fire actually probably around 5:30 because I was outside, and I was like, let's start the fire now so that I can have it running. I've just been tending to it a little bit, and so we're gonna get it, stoking it up a little bit more. It's got a good amount of heat to it right now, but we probably put a little bit more on there. I've been cutting up some firewood with the axe in preparation for tonight. Okay, that's better. I don't know if you guys ever had this, but like whenever I'm like near a heat source and I'm like bending over and my ear gets close to the heat source, whether it's the infrared propane burner or if it's a fire, like I feel the sound wave pulsating on my eardrum. It's very strange. George Shem's with us. Good evening. Rain has begun. Oh man, maybe it's going to start here soon then. Well, we'll see what happens. If we can get some time in before the rain comes, then we'll just have to switch inside and move in. We'll just monitor it. Hopefully it'll hold off for a little while. Mom says, I see you don't have a collar on, not this. There was a moment like that this morning, after the live stream this morning, where I almost left the house because I had to go see my doctor today, one of my new doctors, and there's a part of me that was like, I was just gonna wear it, but I was like, I'm not so bold anymore. I'm not so bold. I should have put it on for this evening, shouldn't I? I should have. All right, so let's go do some coffee now. I've got some coffee. We've got some coffee we've had on the show before, but I thought we'd round it out. This is going to be our last hang for 2025. I just realized that today. I was looking at it, I was like, oh man, you know what? We won't have, next week is Christmas. So we're always typically busy on Christmas, and then that's it. After that, it's going to be New Year's Day next Thursday. So we might do something New Year's Day, and you never know, depending on how family festivities die off on Christmas Day, maybe. There's always that possibility. But we won't have one planned. It'll just be kind of a spur of the moment kind of thing. But like I said, we got our coffee this week. We're going to use this barred coffee from Kenya, Katere AA. We've had this on the show before, and it's a nice coffee. My friend Bob Garver owns this place, Barred Coffee, in Portland, Maine. Really great little shop. Finally got to go visit his shop back in October when I was there. So I picked that up, and we brewed with it before, so we're just going to use the Clever, keep it real simple. So I've got all the coffee already inside. And then the hot water, the boiling water is already in my Zojirushi thermos. So we're just not going to go too crazy today here. I almost went to a cold coffee today, but I thought, let's stay with some hot. It's kind of chilly. So 20:04 is the time. So how's your guys' week been? Have you guys, what happened to you? Anything happen? Anything interesting? Anything boring happened to you, you know, or just nothing happened and you just kind of like are just tired of living, and, you know, let me know. I'm always interested to know. And if you're smoking, let me know what you're smoking, because I want to know. We got a little bit of coffee in there. There's some sirens. I wonder what's happening out there in the world. So we're just going to take it really simple with this brewing, just adding water. That's what I like about this Clever. It's very easy to brew with. You don't have to get too complex. It doesn't have to be too complicated. Just put the coffee in, put the water, let it bloom a little bit, then add the rest of the water, cover, and just wait. We're just going to wait 3 minutes. And I've got my mug here. I put some hot water in earlier to kind of give, oh yeah, look at that, give it a little bit of, all right, all right. So what else been going on this week? Anything interesting happening? What happened to me this week? Nothing interesting, nothing interesting. My friend called me today. He's like, hey, I got your festool for you. I was like, oh, that's crazy. I have an emissary out in Connecticut who went and picked up a tool for me. Actually, he's a good friend of mine. He did it last year for me for another tool. I was like, all right, once a year is good. Once a year is good. Once a month would be too much, but once a year is okay. I must say, my knee is getting a little bit hot. But like I said before, you know, what I like about this setup here, when I'm using this small Weber kettle, is that it keeps the flame or the whole like fire on a higher plane. So your shins, like right now, since my proximity is really close to the fire, like my knee right here is a little bit hot, but my shins are not. And typically my shins and my knees get really hot at a normal height fire, and then the torso is always kind of like the last to get warm. George Juan is saying, I'm enjoying it. Herrera Esteli Maduro by Drew Estate. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So you guys have any plans for Christmas? Anything going anywhere? Anything interesting? All right, so we've got, 7 minutes now, so we're good timing. And now we're just going to take the Clever, because it's got the valve on top. We just put it on top of the mug and open the top just to allow air to displace the liquid. I have had situations where the steam formed a seal on the lid enough so that it wouldn't actually flow. That doesn't happen all the time. It happens every blue moon, but it's a good practice to just pick up the lid and just move it slightly, just to give it a little bit of airflow, so that as you're removing the liquid, air can displace the volume that is being filtered. So really simple way to brew coffee, this Abbott Clever. I really like it. This is kind of my favorite way to brew coffee, especially at home when I'm all by myself and I want to have a brewed coffee and I don't want to do anything. Like, I don't really want to waste too much time making coffee. I just want it to be super simple. Like, especially if I'm making breakfast and I want to have hot coffee with my breakfast, I just want it to be simple. All right, there we go. And now we're done. And so super easy. You've seen this before. There's nothing new here. Right there. Oh, it's really full this time. I think that's going to overflow the mug lid. So I'm just going to put it in gently, gently. Oh yeah, that does overflow just a little bit. Oh, nice. Kenyas always have a nice, rich flavor, good body. Oh yeah, that's good. Not too heavily roasted, kind of a medium light roast, which means that it's got a little bit of brightness to it, so very pleasant cup. I had this coffee when I was there. I ordered a cup of it to drink, and it was very good there. That's why I was like, okay, I'll buy a bag of that. Do we need to add another log? I always want to add more logs. I don't want it to be like brilliantly burning. It's kind of important, right? Oh. I wonder if I should like move it around a little bit. maybe not be so canted to the side. So we're just trying to get this all just kind of rearranged. Okay, that's better, I think. All right, we'll start there. That should be good. A lot of this is now red oak that we got from Matt's property. He had a red oak that he fell, and he was like, "Man, you need some firewood?" I was like, "Yeah, I could use some firewood." As you can see here in the corner, there's some pallets. I need to make some cabinets here at the workshop, so I try to find plywood pallets, and that's what these are. These are like, I don't know, they're thicker. They're not quite 3/4, but they're thicker than 1/2 inch, so they're maybe 5/8 plywood pallets, and one side is fully sheeted. You know, they're construction grade plywood. It's not beautiful plywood, but it's like functional plywood, and most importantly, I get it from warehouses, and it's cheap, like free. So, you know, most of the shop projects that I built in the garage this past year for like tools and stuff like that have all been from salvage type of wood. I really haven't bought any wood to do those projects, which is great because it saves money, and you know, I get to recycle wood that would otherwise be discarded. Actually, I found a big sheet of 8x4x8 3/4 inch plywood yesterday or a couple of days ago, and I looked at it, but it had been sitting outside of a warehouse for way too long, too weathered, there was not very salvageable, unfortunately. What a shame. Tony says, do you check the Restore and Timonium for pallets? You know, Restore doesn't normally have pallets. Gramophone has pallets. Harbor Freight will have pallets. Who else has pallets out there? And then if you just drive around the industrial center, just kind of looking behind, and typically you see a place and like you call them up, be like, hey, or go inside, be like, hey, are you guys throwing away the pallets? Most of the time they're throwing them away because they just can't get rid of them. So, and it costs them to have someone pick it up. So it's very, most times they're very amenable to you taking pallets. And then a lot of times you get pallets that are made out of hardwoods. I saw this one pallet at Harbor Freight the other day, and a lot of times because they're shipping from outside the United States, it's usually a hardwood, whereas pallets made in the United States tend to be made out of pine. Well, I was at Harbor Freight last week, and there was this pallet that looked really just beautiful, and I was like, man, that's a nice looking pallet. Looks like it's oak. So I grabbed it. It was still kind of new, and then when I finally tore it apart, I was like, oh, this is pine. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna do with pine? So, but you know, it's all good. It's all good. We'll use it. Tony says they had a shit ton of them when I was looking for that free coffee they had about a month ago. They had free coffee at the Restore? Really? Oh. But he says Lock Raven Skate Trap has, yeah, that's what he was telling me the other day. I gotta go there and look. But right now I'm looking specifically for these plywood style pallets, right? And 1.5 or 1/2 inches too thin. Like I passed on a bunch of them because they're 1/2 inches too thin. I need like at least 5/8 or 3/4 would be perfect. Just enough to like get some meat to build the cabinet. Oh, we're starting to get a little bit of drips. Uh-oh. This time they feel heavier than the last time. So I wonder if we're gonna have to abandon our position and retreat to the interior. Hopefully not, hopefully not. But we'll see, we'll see. Let me just rearrange some things here. So, you know, I've been using these black wing pencils lately. Oh, it's starting to build. we may have to retreat. I think we have to retreat. Goodness. All right, let me start to plan. It'll be just a moment while we put everything together, but it is starting to come down. All right, let's see what we need to get out of here. All right, let's move the laptop. We're gonna move the laptop inside, kill the power. Lighting's done. Laptop, come inside. Oh yeah, now it's definitely coming down. All right, laptop is in. Phone has to come in now. And so does the lighting. Oh, it's starting to come down serious. All right, we're gonna put you here for a little while I get everything else out of the rain. Like all the tools, gotta move all the tools out. Hatchet and recip saw. What else did I leave outside? Oh, the coffee and the chair. I don't want the chair to get too damaged. All right, coffee, fire's burning. Propane. Disconnect the power outside. Okay. All right, well, here we are. We are back in the garage workshop, and let me just get some stuff in order because I was not planning on coming inside, so I'm caught in the rain a little bit. Let's get some housekeeping together, and then we will continue on with our normal programming. I'll turn on some lights. Over here. Guess we'll set it like that to be good. Like that. Okay. All right. All right, that's good. Let me just plug a couple things in and then we should be good to go. Just a couple more moments, and I will have it all set up here. Whoops. All right, all right. Well, I was hoping that we would be all right with our rain, because it did say not till 11 o'clock, but I see that we are not quite there. Oh, anyway, need a little bit of heat going on here. Maybe just a little bit of adjustment. There we are. Okay. All right, I think we're good. I think we're good. I don't know how far behind we are, because I'm looking at my feed, and I touched it a little bit, so it's a little bit off. I wonder if I could use this to. All right, good. We are now. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so what was I saying? So we got our coffee. Coffee's nice. And yes, I hope you guys are doing well. We have a little bit of a surprise surprise change of plan going on. I've been printing. I got a printer. Been printing a lot of like weird things lately. Some things are practical. Some things are questionable in practicality. But today's cigar is going to be one that was gifted to me recently by Bryan. Back on Monday, we all got together, and he was like, "Oh man, have this for Christmas." I was like, "Oh, thanks, man. Very kind of you." And he's like, "Yeah, it's from 2015. I was like, "What? 2015? Crazy." And so it's a 2015, so it's pretty old, 10 years old. Oh, you know what? This is not the, oh yeah, I think this is. This is the RoMa Craft Intemperance BA XXI Contempt, which is a 46 ring gauge. And was it 5 3/4? Is that right? This looks longer than 5 3/4. Is that right? Maybe I got the wrong one. Yeah, this is different. This is a Panatella. This is 6.5 inches. So I guess I put the wrong one in the description. That's all right. It's interesting because the Intemperance BA, and so in Intemperance is a reference to the Intemperance movement back in the 1800s and into the 1900s that was against alcohol, and the logo for the Intemperance brand is actually from a propaganda poster against alcohol from 1866, and so that's kind of the Intemperance name. And I find that RoMa Craft has some very interesting labeling or interesting stories behind the names that they give their cigars. I just think it's a different kind of thing than what I feel like most cigar brands will do. To me, there's a little bit of thought, that's different kind of thought put into them. So the BA means Brazil Arapiraca, which is a type of wrapper that's grown in the Arapiraca state in Brazil, and they produce this really dark, oily wrapper. When I was in Sao Paulo a few years ago, we went to the big mercado, or actually they don't call them mercado, they call them mercadaos, and the mercadao had a tobacco shop. And I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't buy any tobacco, but I'm looking at this tobacco, and it's got this really dark color to it. And it looks, and what they do is they take the tobacco and they make them into ropes. They twist them into ropes, and you buy it and buy the pound or whatever, by the kilo or gram, and you cut it, and then you somehow smoke it. I don't know what I was thinking, but I wasn't thinking, because I should have bought some, because especially when they were like, oh yeah, this is what they had a sign, this is the Arapiraca wrapper, and I was like, or the Arapiraca tobacco, and I was like, oh, I should try that, but I don't know why I didn't. And that was a mistake on my part. But we were just walking around, and so Arapiraca is the wrapper, and then it has, what is the Honduran? Is it Honduran? No, Indonesian binder with Nicaraguan and Dominican fillers. And as all of you know, they make this thing called the Intemperance Revenge, which is the box press Robusto, which is one of my favorite cigars. So this is a cigar that's also evidently been out of production for 2 years. So they haven't been making them for 2 years, but they've started production again, and in early 2026, they should be hitting the stores. Actually, Sean Coleman called me the other week, and he was like, you know, man, Mike called me, and he was like, it's like, we need to get a couple boxes for Jay. And I was like, oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'm looking forward to this. It's very good. Thank you, Bryan. I'm excited to have it. So these tend to be heavier, not heavier, but richer kind of smokes, complex smokes. Without too much body, too much heaviness, without too much like weightiness that makes you kind of ill. Because sometimes you get like heavy cigars that give you that kind of like ill feeling. Like I've had that recently. Like most recently, I was smoking a friend of mine, Payam, gave me the Davidoff Churchill late hour Churchill, and man, I had to drive home feeling kind of ill from that. And then the other week we were at Jean Max's house, and he gave me this old vintage My Father, and man, the same thing, driving all the way back. Like these are 40-minute to an hour drives home, and I'm just all like, terrible. It's terrible. But hopefully, that's the nice thing about these. I've never really had that experience with this particular line of cigars. So we're gonna get into it and see what it's all about. Tony says, I'm smoking a 20-plus-year-old La Roma de Cuba Churchill and Diet Cherry Pepsi. Excellent. Now, one of the nice things is that Bryan has a very nice humidor, and he keeps the humidor in very good condition. So all I've done this week was, I got it Monday, put it in a bag at the cigar shop that we were hanging out at, and then I took it home, put it in my humidor, kept it in the bag, put it in the humidor, and it's just been sitting there. So. That's the one thing about this. There's a richness to the fragrance. Some manure, some smokiness, right? It's that Arapiraca wrapper. It's just kind of this like dark, like when you see it in the wild, like at that Mercadal, I was just like, oh, maybe that's why I didn't get any, because it just looks so like rustic and like so like. And that's like, I'm saying manure, and you think, oh, maybe that's not so nice, but gosh, I don't know, there is an alluring aroma to this cigar that I just really like, right? And with our Revenges, we do scoring on our cigars here, but the Revenge has typically gotten like in the 86 range. Like it's not like one of the most highest scoring cigars, and you'd think that maybe like the cigars that I like to smoke should be some like 90 plus cigars, but they're not. They're not those cigars. Those are great. 92 plus cigars are great cigars, but this is like your daily driver. Like this is like your companion cigar, right? So we're gonna cut it with the Tinito Lamborghini lighter, which does need a sharpening. Like this lighter is definitely beyond its prime. I should probably figure out how to sharpen this and take like a file to it or something. But the nice thing with this very dark looking wrapper, like just dark. And today is the 18th, right? So OL 257, 12/18/25. 6.5 by 46, I think. Mom says it sounds like a party. It is. It is such a nice. All right, let's see the dry. So on the dry, the cold draw, there is a nice sweetness on the tongue. Nice draw, easy draw. Oh man. Yeah, okay, that's good. So, you know, for fragrance, nice fragrance. Oh, now a little bit of spiciness on the tongue, like a pepper, like a red pepper, cayenne pepper kind of spiciness, not a black pepper spice, but more of a cayenne. I'm going to say 8.5, very good plus. Today, like I said, oh, that's what I was saying. I was saying before, like I'm using pencils, my pencils. I'm using the Black Wing natural pencil. As you can see, it's a natural color. This is their extra firm. This is their hardest lead or graphite. I think I like this one. I like this one. I like the S602, the balanced, and I like this one. But I've always tended to like harder leads in pencils. I don't really want softer lead. We need a little bit of sharpening. And so I think I've shown you before the two-stage sharpener from Black Wing. They cost $18. However, if you go to an art store or a pencil store, you can buy this. I went to Blick the other day, and they happen to have these. Blick is downtown. This is the Kum, K-U-M, Kum from Germany, two-stage sharpener. Kum actually white labels one of their sharpeners for Black Wing. They make the Black Wing sharpener. And I was like, oh man, that's... So where you pay $18 for the Black Wing, this is like $7. So it's a great deal. And what you do is you take your pencil, it's a little bit sharp, it's a little bit, you know, not as sharp as I would like. And the first hole, this hole, you put it in. And what you're doing is you're twisting it. And what this is doing, it's shaving off the wood. And you go until it stops shaving the wood. Like right there. And now it gives you this weird point. Like, look at that. That looks weird, right? Like the lead is very exposed. The second one is to point the lead, to shape the lead. So you put that in here. And again, you twist until it's not doing anything. And now we have a very super long and super pointed pencil lead, which I really like. I really like when they're tight and pointy. Tight and pointy. Perfect. Okay, so let's do some lighting. It also has a little bit of exposed foot, right? You can see that the wrapper doesn't go all the way to the end. There's a little bit left, right? I think they call it exposed foot. So we're going to light it up using our Tatuaje Jeep lighter. Now, here's something that I want to preface. As we start, like, you all know that I like the revenge of this lineup, and I smoke that incessantly if I possibly can. I've tried most everything in this particular line of cigars, and while I'm a fanatic for the revenge, I have not always been as equally in love with the other Vitolas of this lineup. So I'm interested to see where we're going to go with this one. But smoke, rich, flavor is nice and nice and rich and complex. Some spice, again maybe that cayenne spice with a little bit of black spice, plus maybe even like a little bit of clove spice maybe. good smoke production, good resistance in the draw, like a darker flavor on the palate. Ooh. All right, we're starting. We're starting. So what about the rest of you? We know Tony's having his La Oro de Vacuva. How about the rest of you? What are you guys smoking tonight? Anything interesting? So I went to my PCP several months ago after I was ill in the hospital. So I think back in September or maybe August. I went to my PCP and she was like, your A1C, which is like kind of like what we use to like determine diabetes. She's like, your A1C is 4.6. And I was like, what? 4.6? What are you talking about there, girl? 4.6. She was like, that's amazing. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So I was like, 4.6? That means I can go get ice cream. And I took that 4.6 for a ride these last couple months. I was telling that to my cardiologist today. I was like, yeah, I took it for, I was like, all right. It's 6.4 again. All right, all right. I took it for a ride. I'll be honest with you. I took it for a ride. I was like, I'm going to see how far we can take this sucker. So now it's time to bring it back in. Bring it back in. Get back on track. So, but I thought, let's see what happens. Let's see if we can do something. All right, so these first couple puffs, gosh, really nice. It's kind of like, there's a lot of characters, of course, with this cigar that are very reminiscent of the Revenge, flavor-wise. So it's a nice return. There's just something about this blend that I really gravitate to more than the other blends. I would say this one in the box press Robusto, and I think of all the cigars that they make, I think I always tend to go for box press Robustos. From my personal palate, I think it's just the right size, the right shape, just the right form. And like with the Maestranza, their Castelluto Mercy, which is basically their box press Robusto, and that's that lineup. That's what I tore through that box. I tore through it. I get these Revenges, and I just can't stop. It's just like, oh. Yeah, so if you want to get some pencils, or if you want to get they do have this. Now, the Blick downtown does sell the Blackwing pencils by the box, but they only sell the 4 core flavors, right? There's the firm, this is the extra firm, there's a firm, there's a balance, and there's soft. Something like that. And there's 4 of them. So if you're interested in trying them and getting a box, then Blick has them downtown. I think they're the only place that's close by that has them. Maybe Towson Artist Supply might have it. Plaza Supply, they might have it. But I've been buying them at Bertram's Inkwell down in Rockville, which is a pen store. Because Bert will sell, he sells all the different collections that they make. They make these collections, different collections. And he sells the different collections. But if you buy the collection, you can't buy it by the individual pencil. You have to buy the whole box, which is a little bit of a downer. Like, I don't want to have that many pencils. Like, that's just too much. So I'm going to, but they have this new one called the number 21, which is a woodworking, a theme. The theme is woodworking, so I was going to buy that. I'll buy a box of those. Because if they had a cigar one, I'd probably buy that too. Oh, man. Good, rich, spicy, complex. In many ways, it's not fair for me to use this cigar now. Like this is not, and multiple fronts. I'm already someone that's predisposed to liking this cigar because I'm very familiar with the blend. I am friends with the owners, and you know, that all will lend towards, you know, potentially skewing my valuation of the cigar. Then, on top of that, this is not the Intemperance that you will get now. You know, this was a cigar released in 2015, so this is a 10-year cigar, aged in excellent conditions. So there's a lot of things that are going for this cigar that would not be reflective necessarily of what you would buy today in a store. So that is something. These are items to consider as we go forward discussing the parameters of the cigar, how it performs, how my response is to them, because they're going to be necessarily biased in that respect. The coffee's a nice companion, a little bit like light because it's a lighter roast. It's a brighter roast, so it's a little bit bright, I think, for this coffee. I would like something a little bit deeper to kind of match. This is a little more contrasty, but it's also so bright and lighter that it doesn't necessarily stand up well to it. Yeah, well, they have a ton of pallets right now. I was just looking over that comment again about the pallets at the Restore. They have a lot of pallets right now at the Harbor Freight. The Harbor Freight has a lot of pallets right now. I was like, ooh. But you know, honestly, tearing apart pallets really sucks. Like it sucks. It's like the worst. But you know, it's free, so there's something to be paid for there. And Harbor Freight has been having their 12 days of Christmas. I don't know if you've seen that, but every day they have a special going on. I only availed myself of a light. I bought a light early on, like I think the first or second day. I bought a light at a good discount. They also have this vacuum, this shop vacuum, what they call a dust extractor by Hercules. That's actually kind of interesting. That's the cheapest it's been in like a year. And I was like, But yeah, I don't really need that. Bryan, so that's what's going on, Bryan. How are you, man? We're smoking the Intemperance here. Thank you. And it says on my timer 8:43, and I feel like the George Shem. This is where you may come through because like I feel like this will, even though we got an hour and a half, 15 minutes, 18 minutes to go, 17 minutes to go. I feel like that's not enough time. I mean, I feel like that's too much time for this cigar. I feel like I want to puff harder on this. Like I want to puff harder. Like when I'm smoking Revenge all by myself, like watching a show, it's about an hour. Because, you know, you're sitting there, you're enjoying yourself, you're just smoking, just you and your smoke and maybe the show, and you're just kind of puffing away. And you don't have to talk, you don't have to stop, you don't have to listen, you don't do anything. You just puff, 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 puff. And then suddenly it's like an hour. You're like, oh, man, it's all gone. I got to get another one. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm always surprised that almost all the cigars we use on this show last at least an hour and a half. George says, I agree with you. The cigar should be done by 9:35. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. We could be done in like 9:15. I smoked a prototype last week that Mike had given to me. And I thought about using the show, but then I was greedy. I was like, you know what, man? I'm going to smoke this all by myself, on my own, without having to think about it, without having just to sit here and just revel in the moment. And I enjoyed it. But I don't enjoy it as much as like these Intemperance BAs. Like there's something to me that's very guttural about these cigars. It's like you're greedy. You want to be gluttonous with these cigars. But yeah, I've been printing up a storm. I was looking at my, I was working on the programming of the printer yesterday, and it told me that I have 175 hours printed on. I was like, what? 175 hours? I only started using it like a week and a half ago. So we've been printing nonstop on that sucker. Or trying to do as much nonstop. And it's like you just can't print fast enough. But it's probably one of those things where like you start off and you're like print, like I did this, it happened to me last year, like you print. And then after you've printed your heart out, you kind of like slow down and then you don't have to print so much anymore. I think that may be what happens. So smoke production, really great. I mean, everything about it is very good, like really, really great. And one of the things I think, and maybe it's been such a long time since I've had a revenge, but I feel like right now I feel like because of the size of the cigar, and this is probably because, you know, compared to the Revenge, which is a bigger ring gauge, thicker ring gauge, more wrapper, more filler and binder, there's a concentration of flavor that's a little bit different on this one, like a little bit more robust. I think maybe that's the best way to describe it. But also, it could also just be that I haven't had an Intemperance in a long time. So I mentioned last week that Lowe's was going to start to get out of the flex retail side of things. And man, they're getting out of flex in a huge way. Like they have removed flex from their website, and the flex display at the Timonium Lowe's is almost gone. Like they were blowing it out. Like stuff they were selling like the big circular saw yesterday for like 99 bucks. Actually, they still have a couple of you want to go get one today or tonight. Go. You can't order online because it's totally gone. But if you go to the store, and then I bet if they were all sold out of the boxed ones, you could probably get the one that's on display and ask them to give you a discount on it. Be like, hey, can you chop off some more off that because it's, you know, not in a box, and they will. So like this saw that I saw there yesterday for 99 bucks. 99 bucks for this rear handle 24 volt 7¼ inch circular saw, which evidently has great reviews. I think when it was when new, it was like $200-300. It was like 99 bucks. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That's craziness. Yeah, there's some spice to it now. It's got some weight, there's some darkness. I think I need to slow down a little bit, though. I think we should slow down a little bit. I feel like there might be getting a little bit heavy, a little bit too heavy, a little bit maybe starting to get towards the harsh. So maybe slow down a little bit. That's one of the problems that I have with the Revenge, right? Because I'm so into it. And I'm meaning to ask Skip about this, right? Because I'm just, is this a problem? But I'm sure it's really just me, and I'm puffing on it too hard. But basically, I will start to get uneven burning on my Revenges because I think it's just because I'm just pulling on them so much. So I always need to like try to like temper my intemperance smoking. That's what I'm gonna do right now. Take a moment. It looks like the rain has stopped, so it's just passing showers, but we're not gonna go back to that. Hopefully we won't have too cold weather. And another great thing, it is the 18th. So what does that mean? It means that good times are ahead because in 3 days, it will be the winter solstice, which means that the days will start to get longer again. Thank gosh, this whole idea of like nightfall coming at 4:45 really just kind of blows. I yearn for the days of like 9 o'clock daylight. I yearn for those days. 9 o'clock daylight always mucks me up though, like when it gets to the summertime, because like you're like so into like daylight, you're like, all right, daylight. Oh, I need to go buy something. Oh, it's 9 o'clock, I can't because everyone's closed. I'm like, damn. The craziest one that I had was one year we were up in, I used to travel to Edmonton, Canada, in Alberta every year. We used to compete in this tournament back in my paintball days, like in the mid-90s. And I remember one night I was with my teammates and we're all hanging out. We're on like, I think it's called Commercial Drive in Edmonton, but we're out there. It's a high street. You know, there's like a restaurant and bar. We're sitting outside, we're drinking and eating and just enjoying ourselves, right? It's like, you know, it's getting a little bit dark, starting to get, you know, it's getting later. The sun is waned, you know, it's waning. And I was like, man, what time is it? It must be like 9:30. I was like, hey guys, what time is it? It's 11:30. What, 11:30? Holy God. When you go that far north, it's always kind of like strange during the summertime. It's so bright. You're like, what? But, you know, conversely, this time of year, I'm sure in Edmonton, it's like probably nighttime at 2:30. So that would really blow. Like when you go up to the northern parts of the world, like there are parts of America that are just like 24 hours of darkness. You're like, what, 24 hours of darkness? Good God. Like maybe the sun gets a little bit like that and comes back down. You're like, what? For like months at a time, it's like, oh God. I think I'd be miserable in those areas. It's one of those things where like, I like to do this woodworking idea, but it's for a lot of the week, it's just an idea. Like I'll try to do something, but then it's like everything in life just gets in the way. It's like hard to like actually get something done. Like I'm trying to, before my Christmas party next week, I'm trying to do this knife. I buy this knife kit here. Like this is a Tonto bladed knife. So my cousins and I, we have this gift exchange, and I like to put in the gift exchange kind of strange items. I've given machetes and axes and Thor's hammer, edible underwear. Like I like to like do the crazy stuff. Or not necessarily crazy. This is, I would not say that this is crazy, but I saw this kit and I was like, oh, you know what, this is nice. So you buy the kit, and it's basically this stamped steel Tonto blade, and there's many different blades. And then you just have to make the handle. So I'm using this black walnut, which I don't even know if I'm happy with it yet. But you basically just kind of, you know, cut it out, make sure the holes are drilled correctly, and then you just kind of assemble it and then shape it. And I'm not even doing it well. It's like, oh man. Like I've got another gift exchange tomorrow. So I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna give to the gift exchange? I have no idea. I have no idea yet. Good thing I have like random cutting boards lying around here that people seem to like cutting boards, so I have a couple left over. So that's kind of what I've been working on lately, or supposedly, but haven't done anything with. It's terrible. How about you guys? Any interesting gifts you guys are giving this year? I was, my niece has this whole like gift website, like, you know, those websites that have like, you can like register gifts, like a gift registry. So I was looking at it, I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, oh man, I need to like look at it. So I was looking at it last night. And you know, she's got things from like Hollister and Bershka and all these companies, right? And I was like looking and I'm like clicking on them. And obviously I'm late to the party, right? It's a week from Christmas. These things may not even arrive in time. So I'm kind of hosed to begin with. But I'm like on Bershka's website and I'm like clicking on the links that she's given on this gift thing, and it takes you directly to the item that she wants, in the color, in the style, in the size. Almost all of them are sold out. And I was like, oh, son of a gun. I got one piece so far. I'm like, oh man. But the other one, and then the other one, I guess Bershka's getting hit so hard right now that I got the cart loaded, but it won't ship. And actually, I was trying to pay through it with Apple Pay, but for whatever reason, Apple Pay, but if I buy it through Apple Pay, it will not allow it to ship to my address. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It doesn't ship to your address. What are you talking about? So I was trying to go through their actual main portal, and it just freezes. Like, it just won't go through. I think they're getting hit so hard that nothing is going through. I'm just like, good Lord. What a terrible time to buy gifts. Terrible time. Luckily, my nephew is a little bit easier because everything he has is on Etsy, so that all processed. Who knows if they're going to ship? Etsy people, who knows? But hopefully. I should probably start an Etsy store. So rolling along, almost 9 o'clock. I'd say we're finished the first third. I'm going to say we're finished the first third. Now, you know, I like the cigar. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. The body is quite heavy. But I think that, you'd think that I would be someone that would be like, oh yeah, it's excellent because I love it so much. But I can't say that. I would say that it's very good plus. And maybe because I'm liking it, we're going to say 8.75 for flavor and body, 8.75 as well. But we're not saying 9. I can't say that it's excellent, right? Like, because we're comparing it to the pantheon of cigars out there in the world. That's really the very good range is really just like a very good plus range is really appropriate, I think. So. Just making sure that I get all the calculations correct. I'm actually quite excited about this. This tool my cousin picked up for me in Connecticut today. He called me, he's like, we've been trying to connect with the seller. Seller's really friendly, really nice guy. And the tool is kind of old, like it's a bit older, but the guy, it looks like from the photographs, it looks like he's kept it in very, very good condition. Like it looks in very good condition, which is great because, it's like, you find guys that are selling their tools, used tools that are in good condition, it really shows that they've cared for them, which is, I think, a positive thing to find. And it's actually a tool that's been discontinued for quite a few years now. It's a little detail sander. So I was like, I got him, and he called me, he's like, hey, did you pay? I was like, am I supposed? I said, oh, yeah, I'm sorry, man. He's like, because I told him I'd send him the money, and I sent him the money. I was like, oh yeah, you got to give him the cash, because I didn't want to send the seller the money because I like to have him look it over and make sure that everything's, everything's up and up and everything's good. Because if it's not, then we can pull out of the deal at that moment, or otherwise, or just proceed. So now it's in hand. It's going to come down on Christmas Eve. So I'm like, oh, I got to wait a week. A little bit of chocolate is coming through at the moment, like a dark chocolate. Right about now, I wish that I had like some kind of small, like this ring gauge RoMa Crafts, like that, like their old Whistlitos. That would be a nice follow-up to this. Should we finish this rapidly? Which I think you're right there, George. Maybe 9:35. Mom says, "How's the coffee?" The coffee's good. The coffee's good. Like I said, it's a nicely roasted coffee, light medium. It's got a little bit of brightness to it. Good sweetness, not too much body. Like this one, because of the way they roasted it, and it's a little bit lighter on the body. But it's very nice. It's not, I can't say that it's the perfect companion to this cigar, because this is a fairly robust cigar, a fairly like complex cigar, where this one, it's, I think if it had a little bit more body to it, it would stand up better to the cigar, but so far, not bad. On tomorrow's live stream, for the coffee Q&A, we're going to be doing the Café de Olla, which is the Mexican-style coffee where you're actually taking the liquid, the water, and you're boiling it with canela, which is the Mexican-style cinnamon, which is interesting because canela is not the same of the cinnamon that we use in the West, here in America, right? Our cinnamon is a very sharp cinnamon. Mexican cinnamon is a lot softer of a cinnamon, so it's a little bit, it's not as pronounced, it doesn't have as much bite. So that, and a little bit of cloves, maybe a little bit of orange peel, and you kind of boil that in the water and infuse that into the water. And then after a few minutes of boiling that, you add the coffee and let that, infuse the liquid, and then you strain it or filter it. So that's kind of what we're going to be doing tomorrow. I actually have some props. Like my old girlfriend gave me this Café de Olla. Olla means like a pot, like it's like a olla, a jar, right? And traditionally you make this in a clay olla, right? It's kind of like this. I don't know where I put it. It's like everything is confused. But I do have the canela. Somewhere I have this canela. Because if you could use American cinnamon, but it is a sharper experience. So George says, it's the last show to cancel. No, we will not stop early if we finish this. I will get another cigar. I was just sitting here thinking, when I said that about the Whistleito, I'm just trying to think about what do I have in my cigar inventory that would be a nice follow-up to this, right? Because the Revenges or these Intemperances, they got enough body, they got enough spice, enough flavor that you don't want to follow it up with something light, because if you follow something light, you just lose it. It's like when I used to have the when PBR used to make their 1975 Serie Privada, which they had SP54, which was my favorite. It's a box-pressed 54 ring gauge, like, it was a longer cigar, not a Robusto, longer, Toro-shaped, Toro size. Man, I used to smoke those all the time. But the problem is that they had beautiful complexity, beautiful flavor, but body very light. It's a very light cigar. So while it was like super, super amazing, if you smoked something heavy before that, and then you smoked the SP54, you totally wasted your money, because Like I remember one time I smoked like a tatuaje or something. Any tatuaje would be too much to smoke before this cigar. It just blew it out completely. And I was like, oh man, I just wasted my money. So that's what I'm thinking about now. What would be the right follow-up? Tony wants to know, Animal, when are you going to break? I imagine you guys are going to break like next week. I wonder if my niece and nephew are already off after tomorrow. But everything about this cigar, lovely. The draw, just the right amount of tension. The smoke production, good copious smoke. Everything is just really beautiful. And the nice thing is that it's not terribly cold. Like last week was terribly, the last 2 weeks, terribly cold. Like that was just, it was brutal. Last week was brutal. The last couple of days, brutal. Like I was trying to do some work in here last night around 6 o'clock and I was like, oh, I just can't do it. Like it's like when it was 26 and below, and I think one night it was 16, I was like, oh God, this is just misery. It's misery. Like everything is cold. Nothing gets warm. Even though I've got the heater running, like nothing gets warm. And I turned this heater on like an hour or two before I started to come out here, and it just didn't do anything. I was like, this is not doing anything. George says, tomorrow's my last day. Hallelujah. Excellent, excellent. So what are you going to do with yourself for the next 2 weeks? Is it 2 weeks you get off? Speaking of getting off, you know what I'm thinking about? That makes me think about the library. I'm going to the library lately to get books and like check them out. My problem is that I get some books, I check them out because I'm interested in the books. But I never get a chance to read them. So I remember I had a couple books checked out like in October, and suddenly I had to renew them, and I was like, oh, I had to renew them, and I totally didn't have a chance to look at them. And I'm almost in that same position now with these books. I read a little bit of one of them, but I have not read the rest of it. So I'm like, oh man, I need to get into it. Yeah, we need to like slow down a little bit just to let it breathe a little bit, breathe a little more. I gotta wait. Maybe I don't want to wait. George says, yep, 2 weeks. I'm going to spend time with my family and plenty of quality time at the Cigar Lounge. Tons of college football. Excellent, excellent. I presume that, if I remember correctly, you tend to like hang out, when you go to Cigar Lounge, it's usually a Tony shop, is that correct? Or do you actually go to Raul's? Maybe during the break we should get a little outing to Capitol. I need to go to Bertram's Inkwell and get my pencils. So, plus I need to bring my pen. Like I've got this pen, this Lamy Safari pen, which is the cheapest of all the Lamy fountain pens. And I went to take it last year to go to one of those. They have these pen doctors, right? So you take your pen, your fountain pen, you take it to these pen doctors, and they shape the nib to your style of writing. And so I brought this, my favorite pen to the guy, and I was like, I'd like to have this done. He's looked at it. He's like, I can't do anything with this. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, this pen has been dropped because your nib is kind of bent. So it really doesn't make any sense for me to fix it, to like work on it if it's not really working right. And I was like, really? I was like, this is something I replace? He's like, yeah, just go to see Bert and he'll get it done. So every time I go to Bert's, the owner of Bertram's Inkwell, his name is Bert, I always forget to bring the pen. So I gotta remember to bring it next time I'm down there so that I can get this pen done. Oh, Tony Shop, okay, good. Well, one of those days, let me know when you're down there. Maybe if I have time, I'll come down and join you for a little bit. We went to Davidas on Saturday, on Monday. Bryan gave the call, come down. Like, all right, let's go. I haven't seen the boys in a while, man. It's been a while. God, man. I've been stuck in my little hole here, and it's like, oh, I need to get out. Like, it's so interesting because, like, there was a time for many, many years, we were always at the cigar shop, like every day at the cigar shop. That was always a great time, like a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. So it was nice to get back out there and see everyone hang out in a casual setting. And what I was liking about the cigar shop scene is that you just never know who's going to come by. So you see people that you just wouldn't normally see. Well, of course, you're not going to see them if you're smoking at your house, right? So I like that social aspect of cigar shops. Yeah, we used to go to the cigar shop in the days that we were kings. We lived like kings back then. We lived like kings. Tony, you guys don't do RoMa, do you? I gotta be honest, you know, we went to Davidas, and they used to carry RoMa, so I walked in and I asked the guy Ken, I was like, hey man, where's your RoMas? He's like, we don't carry those anymore. I was like, what? I feel disappointed. Like, I don't know, that's really, RoMa had for the last several years been my go-to. Like, I'll just buy that. I ended up buying like a Tatuaje Monster Mummy Redux number 5. I bought one of those. That was good. I also had they had a special that day. I guess every day at the cigar shop during Christmas, they have one cigar that's like 15% off. So they had this big old Drew Estate. 15% off, it was like $24, 15% off, so like $19, something like that. So a decent discount, but I was like, I smoked it. It was okay. It was okay. I thought about using it for the next episode, which would have been this one. And now that I reflect on it, like, I didn't realize that this would be the last episode of the year until today. So had I saved that one and used it for today, and, you know, I would have had an expiration with it, right? But I think at the end of it, I would have been disappointed because I've been like, oh, well, the last episode of the year, I ended up with smoking a cigar that I just didn't necessarily groove with. And I was like, oh. So this one, I'm grooving well with it. Tony says, you definitely come down. Definitely. Let me know. Let me know. Send me a text and be like, hey, we're smoking today at this time. Just don't do a Christmas Eve. Can't do Christmas Eve. Monday, Tuesday, could do that. Although I should be making this knife. I should be finishing this knife. I should work on this tomorrow. Stupid knife. Like, I'm really actually having a difficult time trying to understand how to do this. And I've done that knife before. And I don't know why I'm having a difficult time with this. George Brightman's with us. What's going on, George? How are you? Merry Christmas to all you OnoLive fans. I missed the hang here, but it's been a pretty wild fall. I do have some S&S special smokes to the Mega Herf in Charleston. Ooh, that's right. You went to that Mega Herf. How was that? Was that last week? I had to go down to Raleigh-Durham, second or third week of January. A friend of mine is having his 70th birthday party. I guess he's having a big party. He called me up a few weeks ago, like a month ago, and he's like, hey man, having his birthday party. Can you come? I was like, sure. When is it? He's like, the week of the 17th. All right, I'll be there. you want me to send you an invitation? No, you don't send me an invitation. I'll send you an invitation anyway. All right, fine. And I'm really bad with, see, here's my problem. I'm really bad with invitations. And he even called me again. He was like, hey, are you coming? I was like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, oh, because you need to RSVP. All right, fine. I'm really bad at doing that kind of thing. Like, if you call me and you're like, hey, we're having an event. I'm getting married. Like, this is always with the weddings. It's like this. They're like, I'm getting married this day. Be there. It's all right, I'm going to be there. And then I'll get a call from like the groom, my friend or whatever, whoever it is. And they're like, or even maybe sometimes the bride, they're like, are you coming? Yeah. I told you I'm coming. Well, could you send the card back? I was like, what card? The one that's in the invitation? Oh yeah, did you get the invitation? Oh yeah, it's just sitting on my counter. Because I get mail. I never open the mail. I don't open mail anymore. I don't like to look at mail. I don't like to look at anything. Like mail, email, I don't want to look at any of that. So I'm always getting caught up in that. It's like, all right, I'm coming. Let me know what you want, chicken or beef, chicken or fish, or whatever it is, chicken or whatever. And I was like, all right, fine. I want beef, always beef. George says, also, in case some of you will be around, Mike will be hosting an oyster roast on Friday the 26th. Ooh. Oyster roast. Mike who? Rosales or something? Oh, Mike, the contractor Mike. Okay. Is it going to be at the Capitol or somewhere else? You know, we're past 9 o'clock now, so I wonder how rusty he is. And I'm wondering how his muscle special went over last week. I finally saw the pictures on his Instagram or something. It looked really good. I was like, oh man, that looks really good. Megaherf was awesome. The crowd was in fine form. We had great, oh, that sounds like a great time. Charleston, how long of a drive is Charleston? You know, I don't know if I've ever been to Charleston. Maybe when I was a child, but definitely not in the last 30 years have I been to Charleston. I've been to South Carolina. Like I've been to Sumter because I went down to Sumter in 2017 because they had the eclipse. 8-hour drive, okay. Oof. Now that makes sense. I mean, it's 6 hours from where I live. It's 6 hours to Raleigh. So it's like, so I had to go there on the 17th, and then I was going to go to a conference in Colonial Williamsburg the weekend of 22nd, 23, 24, 25, right around that time. But then I got another invitation to go to an event on the 24th. So I was like, oh, I'll go to that event. Maybe I'll just telecommute to the conference because there's a conference happening. And they have in person, which is kind of expensive. I was like, oh, that's why I kind of didn't register. I was like, oh God, how much is it? $400? Forget it. But it's like $100 for the online registration, and you just get to watch online when they're doing the seminars. So I was like, I can just watch that. George says, but there are good stops on. Oh, absolutely. What I'm planning to do when I go to Carolina, I want to head out to Goldsboro in Eastern Carolina. Goldsboro is the home of a place called Wilbur's Barbecue, which was my first real introduction to Carolina whole hog barbecue. And a whole hog barbecue, they take the whole pig and they put it in the pit and they cook the pig. And then when they finish cooking it, they take it inside and they chop it all up. They chop it all together. Everything's all together. And they serve it with this vinegar and pepper-based sauce. And I remember first time I went there, because my friend was telling me about this. It was back in 2013 I went there for the first time. I sat down, I ordered the whole hog barbecue with the crisp. Like you can order it with just the whole hog barbecue, or you can get it with the skin chopped into it. So I got the skin chopped into it. So I got the plate that had the whole hog barbecue with the baked chicken, not barbecue chicken, baked chicken. And I sat in this booth eating this whole hog barbecue that I'd read all about. I'd heard all about this. Like, it's great, supposed to be great. And I tell you what, I sat there and I ate this pig and I was like, this is a revelation. like a revelation. I was like, oh my God. Like, this is some of the greatest pig I've ever had in my life. Now, if you talk to most people about Carolina barbecue, they talk about this one place in a town called Ayer, which is about an hour from Goldsboro by like back roads. Ayer, South Carolina North Carolina is a home to the place called Skylight Inn. So on a trip later, I went to Goldsboro, had my typical pig, and then I went to Skylight Inn in Ayer because it's supposed to be the best. And I tell you what, I thought Wilbur's was better. The one at Skylight was a little bit disappointing, a little bit dry, and I was like, worth checking out. Honestly, I don't know if I'd go back again. But we'll see, we'll see. There's some other barbecue joints in that part of the country that need to be explored more. So yeah, originally I was going to be, if I was going to go to the conference, I was going to stretch my trip the whole week because it makes no sense to drive 6 hours to Raleigh-Durham, drive 6 hours back home, and then a couple of days later drive back down 4 hours to go to Williamsburg. And I'll just stay down there and do something. But now I will come home. And George says, crackling is a special treat with the whole, oh yeah, man, God, so nice. Were you able to have any barbecue on your trip? Then a lot of times when I'm in that part of the Carolinas, I will stop by the, what is it, JR Cigars has that big shop right off of 95. It's like, ooh. When we were younger, like in the 90s, we'd be driving and find a JR somewhere, like that one would be one of them. And JRs would have the those bundle cigars for like 20 bucks that are supposed to be like other cigars. It's the JR substitute for like the Monte Cristo number 2. They were just okay. They were But another thing I did have, so the other day, I was smoking here. And I remember we had a couple weeks ago, we had that Holt cigar, the factory special, which I didn't think it was very special. But I had it again. I had another one. This time without necessarily had to sit there and think about it and just sit there and just have a nice time with it, right? I actually enjoyed it a lot more on its own the second time than I did the first time. George says, the site was Edmund's original, so we had barbecue, but also one of the last courses they brought out was prime rib. Oh my, that sounds. So what is, when you go to South Carolina, like I've never had barbecue in South Carolina, so what is the South Carolina style barbecue? How does it differ than the Eastern North Carolina barbecue? Because it's Western Carolina, Western North Carolina has what? Mustard-based sauce, is that right? Actually, I was talking to this girl the other day. I met her, I was somewhere and I met her. We were talking and I was like, and she's like, oh yeah, I'm actually originally from North Carolina. I was like, really? What part of Carolina are you from? She's like, oh man, somehow we got into, I said, oh, I've been to these barbecue joints. She said, oh, there's a really good barbecue place where I live. And I said, and I don't know how it came up, but I was like, oh, I think she said the name. She's like, oh yeah, it's a place called Skylight. I was like, oh, so you're from Ayer. She's like, how did you know that? I was like, well, I've been there. She's like, really? I was like, yeah. Yes, I have. We should compare notes. $9.24, and look at this. We are definitely past the second third. So I think we're very consistent here. So I'm going to say 8.75 again. Now we're at the point where the cigar needs to remove the wrapper. And RoMa Craft is this company that has this whole thing about the wrapper and the band. And I think Skip was posting about this just like last week, I think, was posting about the band again. And as many people who complain about the band, right, being so difficult, like you can't just peel it off. Like, you know, we peel off the bands. It's very difficult to do that. You can't, it's hard, you can't take it off before you start smoking it. And for sure, that's by design, right? I think they wanted to combat the whole like idea of people that take off the band so they don't like, you know, show off. Well, they made it so you can't take the band off, so you have to show off. But the whole thing about the thing, evidently the paper they're using is some kind of wine label paper, so it's a heavier duty paper, more texture. And the key is that you have to burn your fingers in order to get the band off. Because you have to get to this point here so that the glue or whatever loosens enough. So you just have to pull it over and burn your fingers as you go over the cherry. Like right now, that band is pretty hot. And now you have the band off. It's actually quite irritating. But, you know, I guess respect, because all the people in the world that have complained about this band, they have remained steadfast in their hard-headedness to not change the band. But I can now unwrap it a little bit and try to save it. Because what I do is I actually will, after the show, I normally will glue it onto the sheet here just so that I can have some kind of like, you know, I don't know, remembrance of it or something like that. Rusty says, that's what's going on, man. Rusty says that South Carolina has the mustard base sauce. Okay, gotcha. So what do they do in Western North Carolina? Is it ketchup? Is that what they do? George 1 says, light up the dead stock, an LC exclusive. This one is the AJ blend with a 5 years of age. Ooh, nice. Nice. So Rusty, since you're here, man, I was wondering, how did your muscle special go over last week? I did finally get to see your posts about your students who came by and got your muscle special, and it looked great. It looked great. I was looking at here at the house, like back in the summertime. I don't know how this happened, but somehow not even in the garden, just in the flower bed, there was a pumpkin. And by this point in August, it was a pretty big pumpkin. Like, it's a pumpkin about this big. And I was like, there's a pumpkin here. We cut the pumpkin out, you know, green, and let it sit around. Of course, you know, just like any fruit, it becomes orange. And it's been sitting around all fall. And I was looking at it just today, and it's starting to sag a little bit. I was like, oh no, man, I gotta like harvest this silly pumpkin and start to make pie out of it. My nephew likes pumpkin pie, so I'm gonna try to, hopefully it hasn't like rotted on the inside, but maybe it has because it's starting to sag. So the coffee is still good. Man, that's nice. The one thing about this like Festool mug, its insulation properties are decent, but it's not great. Like, it's still fairly hot, but it's not hot. Like, it doesn't have enough thickness. You know, some things, they hold at temperature for quite a while. Like that little like white one, if you recall, I have this little white one from Fellow called the Carter. That thing holds temperature pretty darn well. I'm like to the point that if I make a coffee and I put it in that thing and I drive up to a donut shop, I like will normally, when I go in to get the donuts, I'll take the cap off so that it cools down just slightly. Looks like we're going to be past 9:35 now, but close. good. It's good. Actually, I need to go grab something. Let me just go grab this thing for a moment. Right back. I'll be right back. One moment. All right. All is good. All is good. I had to go check on something here, but as you know, we had snow earlier this week, and we got about 4 inches, which was kind of nice. So before the snow came, I had to go dig out the snowblower. I had it stored and wrapped. So I tore it open, brought it up here, tried to fire it up, wouldn't start. I was like, what's going on with this? Then I looked, I was like, oh yeah, of course. I drained out all I ran it till it was dry before I put it away last at the end of the winter. So I need to get gas. So I got some gas, put it in, fired it up, got it to run, and then it stopped. And I was like, okay, good, that's good enough. I'm ready. Snow comes, and I left it outside. Would not start. It would not start. And I was like, oh, son of a gun. I couldn't get started. And it has electric start, and the electric start wouldn't start either. So I was like, man, this is terrible. So now I'm trying to think about, I was thinking maybe there was something that got in the tank, and now the jets are clogged. So I was like, oh, now I have to fix that. Rusty says, sold one on Friday, did not sell one on Saturday. Oh man, I bid to the servers and they said they were too busy to sell it. How are you too busy to sell something? That's quite literally your job. The restaurant doesn't make money if you don't sell them. And the mussels, you can't hold the mussels till tomorrow, till like next week. That's dumb. George says, what coffee did I brew tonight? No, I did not use the blueberry cereal. I made this coffee called the Katheri AA from Kenya that was roasted by Bard Coffee up in Portland, Maine. It's very nice. It's very nice. No, I did not make the milk drink today. Those are harder, like in the context of doing this show, and that's a lot, those kind of drinks are a lot harder to make because I need an espresso machine. But definitely the blueberry cereal was a nice touch, but it needs, definitely the next time I make it, needs a higher concentration of cereal to the milk to get that flavor to reveal. I want that flavor to be more pronounced, right? Although I did eat another bowl of the cereal after the show. I was like, I'm gonna have another bowl of that. But maybe they've changed it because, like I said in the show, like those corn kernels were like sticking to my molars. I don't like that. I don't think that happens when I eat Fruity Pebbles, though I should try that to double check and make sure that that is how it works. But I got a gallon of milk for the show, and when I got it the other day, I left it outside for like a couple hours. When it was still like 15 degrees, I was like, oh, I better bring it inside the garage. And that's the nice thing I like about wintertime. That's like one of the nicest things of wintertime is that I can come into the garage tends to be about 40 degrees, somewhere around 40, 38 to 40, and your refrigerator is 38 degrees, right? You want to hold it 38 or below, and any kind of product. That way, that's cold enough to inhibit bacterial growth. So I find that at wintertime when it's cold, like here in the garage, I actually use this like infrared thermometer. So I'm gunning everything because like I haven't turned off the water in here. So I'm like kind of paranoid this past week, like, oh, is it going to freeze? Is it going to freeze? Am I going to like have a big problem? Luckily, this place holds very well at 40. This week, it kind of dipped down to 36 at times, so 35, 36. So pretty darn cold, but not freezing. So that's a really good thing. So the nice thing is that you can put anything in your garage and it just doesn't go bad. So I was making French fries the other day. And so I like to make French fries double fries. So you take your potato, you slice them into fry sticks, and then you fry them, deep fat fry them for like 275 degrees until it turns translucent. Then you take it out, cool it down, and then after you cool it down, you can refry it at 375 and it crisps. So I was like, well, I'll just put it in the garage. And the nice thing about the garage is such, as you can see, the garage is so voluminous that if you took a hot item and you put it in your refrigerator, you start to have problems because that heat of the product in your fridge, even though your fridge is refrigerated, that product starts to heat your fridge, starts to raise the temperature of the refrigerator above 40 degrees, and then you start to have potential like time temperature exposure, you start to have like bacterial growth, and you could have all kinds of problems because it raises the temperature of your fridge. But out here, it's so big, nothing gets cold, nothing gets warm. It's really kind of great. It's like really wonderful. George says, it probably wasn't made with high fructose corn syrup when you were a kid. Probably not. I think that is a relative, was it 80s era, 90s era, really, like it started to get like super too involved. Yeah, HFCS has not been a good thing for our country, at least for the health of our people. And I don't think that the use of steroids is good either. Like, I remember girls, for example, right? Girls. When we were young, girls were fairly skinny. They weren't very thick. As time has gone by, girls seem to get thicker, like hips are thicker. And I think it's because of our diet, right? I think it's not just the HFCS in the foods, but also the use of steroids in like chickens, because they eat a lot of chicken, get a lot of steroids, it starts to get thick. I don't know, maybe we can make this last till 10. It's the hormones and steroids. And yeah, you know, it's got to be that, man. It's terrible. It's a terrible thing. Like when I learned about this many, many years ago, I was kind of appalled by it. You know, the companies, the ag companies, like ConAgra and all them, Cargill. Like if you look at nutrition, like you can typically eat 2, maybe 3 meals a day and be good. Small meals. But our industries have been really trying to find ways to get Americans to eat more, consume more food so they can sell more product and make greater profit. So we've had a lot of these health issues, obesity, diabetes type 2, all this stuff. And I think that's really because of the way that we've been fattening our people up. EDM, exactly. So I don't know. We need to eat more vegetable. I have been thinking lately, especially this past year, that I've been eating a lot more vegetables. I've been eating a lot of vegetables. Like about a year ago, my PCP was like, hey, I want you to go to take this nutrition class. I was like, all right, I'll go take this nutrition class. So I took this class. It was like a 4-week class Once a week, you go there, you talk nutrition. And my nutritionist was like, here's the chart. Like, you know how they show you that plate? This is how much protein you should eat. This is how much starch you should eat. This is how much vegetables you should eat, right? She's like, this is the vegetable. But you can eat as much vegetable as you want. She was like, you cannot eat too much vegetables. And I was like, really? She's like, no. So I've been trying to take that to heart this past year, like eating a lot more vegetables. And I think there's a way to do like, not that I would ever like become this, but I think that you could eat more meals that are all vegetarian and still have an enjoyable time at it. George says, sorry to say it, but I got to log off. Happy holidays. Happy holidays to you. And I sure hope we can get together soon. I look forward to that. Steroids aren't good, but our kids have become non-active. They spend time on electronics and Netflix instead of being outside riding bikes. True, very true. Also, the companies can make more profit. After tonight, I have to figure out, after the show, I have to look for this canela that I have somewhere here. It's all stacked up somewhere. It's pretty terrible. We have not seen Steven yet. I'm surprised. Normally we've seen him by now. Oh, we're getting close. We are getting close. I should put it down for a little bit. So what's going on this weekend? This weekend, how about you guys? Anything going on? Like I said, I've got a Christmas party tomorrow to go to. I have to make something for it. My friends in this group, they were like, let's have a Christmas party and let's make it potluck. I don't know if I told you this before, but they were like, and let's make it a Friends theme. And so in the invitation, they're like, here's an article about food that is like Friends. So it's articles about food that reminds me of Friends. And I was like, reading through it, and I was just, honestly, I was horrified. I was like, oh my God, it's terrible. What is it? There's an article out there. I must have said this in the past, but there's an article out there. If you Google Food of Friends TV show, it'll come up, and it's like, it's god awful. It's god awful. They had things like trifle, which is not a bad thing. Trifle's not bad. But evidently the way they did it in the show, they had like a turkey sandwich inside the trifle. I was like, so I called the one girl that said that she was going to do the trifle. I was like, are you going to put the turkey sandwich in there? She's like, oh no. I was like, thank God, please don't do that. There's Steven. What's going on, man? How are you? How are things down in Phoenix? Rain, cold? Here we've had very cold weather. Today's very mild. Yesterday was getting milder. Today's much milder. Tomorrow's going to be even better, I think. So that'll be good. I don't like that. I don't like it when it's too cold. Oh, another thing that I meant to tell you that I've been meaning to say for the last few weeks is that, so I run this stream now through YouTube, through the phone, right? I'm broadcasting this through my iPhone. And when I used to do it through the StreamYard service, once we finished, it was fine. Nothing happened to it. But for whatever reason, and I think it's because this channel is a smaller channel, so the way that YouTube configures their servers is that once I end this stream, it automatically sets the parameters of this particular stream from public to private. I don't know why they do that. So I have to actually physically go into the YouTube studio and change the settings back from private back to public. So if I've ever ended the stream, and George has mentioned this a couple of times, when I end the stream and it suddenly tries to come back and it says private, he's like, hey, what's going on with the private thing? So I have to set the change thing. So if I ever end the stream and you wanted to go back to it, usually I set it right after we finish, so it takes just a few minutes to do that. Ooh, this thing is still very nice. It may not be for everyone, but I certainly do like their cigars. Ooh, now it's starting to burn my fingers. Oh yeah, I can barely hold on to this thing now. Ooh. Can we do one more? Got to get our money's worth out of this, right? It's nice to have cigars like this because, you know, sometimes you get cigars and you're like, oh man, I would like to be finished now. This one you're like, I would like another inch. All right, we gotta put that down. We gotta put that down. Oh, man, very nice. All right, let's have a look at our scoring for this cigar today. Our 10-year-old RoMa Craft Intemperance BA XXI. It's not the Contempt, it's something else. But so I'm thinking we're still, it's very consistent. 875. Now, burn and draw, great. So I'm going to say excellent. Consistency, very consistent. So excellent consistency. So I'm going to say 18. Overall, I think 875 will be the way to go for overall. So very good plus. Oh, this one. Turns out this one scores better than our Revenge by like a 1.75. So 87.75 is our score. And you know, I know we have a database that we have a link to that that compiles all of these, but I have not been updating that this year. I've been very, very bad at that. So I'm going to sit down this week or next week and work on that, updating all of it to get it all so that we can, so when we start the next year again, we're going to come back and look at the best cigars of 2025 from the show. Steven says 66 in Phoenix currently, smoking the Padron 64 Torpedo. Ooh, getting fancy. And drinking Liquid Death. So which Liquid Death are you drinking? Like, I went to an event in 2022, a YouTube event called Vid Summit, which is kind of like, it's the event for all YouTubers. And Liquid Death was one of the sponsors. So they gave, they would have cases and cases of Liquid Death, but it was just the water version. But I've noticed that Liquid Death has other drinks now. So I think they even have like alcoholic drinks. So which Liquid Death are you drinking? Yeah, the Intemperance, that's good, solid. I always find that the RoMa Crafts tend to be quite solid overall. Some I really can't do too well. Like I find, like, you know, there's the Cro-Magnon, and then the accompaniment to the Cro-Magnon is our Aquitaine line. I don't know about you guys, but I find, like, I like the Cro-Magnon, but every time I smoke the Aquitaine, man, it is heavy. Like, I'm always like, whoa, man, this is a lot heavier. George Shem's asking, what the hell is Liquid Death? Liquid Death is a brand of beverage company out there. Kind of, it's kind of like a cool brand. Like, a lot of YouTubers are into it. A lot of the big YouTubers. They get sponsorship, so, you know, of course they're going to be into it. But Liquid Death is a company, they do water. I think they started out as a water company, but now I've seen at the grocery store, they have Liquid Death Cola, other stuff. I've not tried any of that stuff, like Liquid Death. Do I want to drink Liquid Death? I don't know about that. Sounds like poison, like the barium I had to drink yesterday, which was kind of like crazy because evidently I went to pick up my barium on Tuesday. I picked it up from the radiology lab, and they were like, okay, good, make sure you take this and drink it. I was like, all right. And evidently they sent me a message, because when I went there yesterday, they were like, oh, did you drink the barium? You're not supposed to drink the barium. I was like, I wasn't? Like, no, you're supposed to, like, not drink it. I was like, what? They sent you a message. What? And I didn't see the message until this afternoon. I was like, oh, there's the message. Don't drink the barium. I was like, oh, great. So barium is a metal, a heavy metal that's poisonous to your body. But if you drink it in small quantities, like I guess 4.2%, because the barium in these two drinks is 2.1%, it won't kill you. It can make you nauseous, and it can make you ill and diarrhea and all this kind of stuff. Because the woman was like, you might need to get some Depends. I was like, Depends, really? I didn't buy any Depends, thank goodness. But I get there and they're like, oh no, we're gonna reschedule you now. I was like, oh, reschedule. But next time you don't have to eat the barium. I was like, okay, good. So the barium was interesting. It wasn't bad. It was actually this like vanilla shake kind of drink. So it was actually pretty decent. Andrew's with us, evening all, kick back with an EPC and TNF. Nice, dude, nice. Glad to see you, glad to see you. Hope you have a wonderful Christmas next week. Evidently, we're getting together on the 26th. So that sounds good. George was just here telling us about it, so that should be good. Craig's with us. What's going on, Craig? How are things? How's Ottawa? Is it cold? We're not so cold this week, thank goodness. But yeah, not bad, not bad. So that was the Intemperance BA XXI. 6.5 inches, I think it was, 6.5 inches by 46. So I guess maybe like more of a Lancero type of cigar. Very nice though. Tony says that's a Lonsdale. Ah, the Lonsdale. That is the production size is the AWS 4. I gave you the 100. Ah, okay. So it's called the AWS. Is that what it's called? Okay. Make sure I have that note here, just so that I'll make sure I have it good. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I was trying to figure out what cigar it was, so I'm looking online. And evidently, RoMa Craft doesn't have their website anymore. Like, it's gone. Like, it doesn't come up on Google listings. And all they have listed on, like, their Google listing is just the Instagram page. So I looked at that. And then I was looking on different websites like Cigars International and other places that sell their cigars. But I couldn't find the right size. I was like, huh? I think the closest was the Contempt. But, yeah. Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. All right, I guess it's time to roll out. As always, good to see all of you. Thank you very much for another year hanging out here on the Thursday Night Hang for the Coffee and Cigars live stream. We'll recontinue after the new year. Like I said, there may be an opportunity to do one on New Year's Day, but it all depends. But for sure, back on So if the first, so back, no later than January 8th will be our latest next one. It's a limited edition, which, oh, it's a limited edition. Oh, okay, okay. What did they, do you recall what parameters they released it under as a limited edition? George, good to see you, man. See you in 2026. But I look forward to seeing you sooner than that. All right, so hope you guys have a wonderful Christmas, not Thanksgiving, Christmas next week, and Happy New Year to you. And yeah, back again next year. Have a wonderful evening, and see you next time. Let me go walk around, and I got to turn off the broadcast. So if you're watching again, and like I said, it'll turn to private once I hit the button, but I will reset it back. So hope you have a great one, and see you next time. Uh-oh.